Welcome to Not Your Typical Church Ladies, faith conversations for your real life. I'm Vicky, and each week I am joined with my fellow workers in the vineyard, Anne and Karen, to break open the Sunday scriptures and talk about life and faith and everything in between. Join your Not Typical Church Ladies on this journey each week.
Merry Christmas!
We made it!
We made it! Yay! I'm Karen, and I am joined with my fellow awesomeness ladies, Anne and Vicky, for Not Your Typical Church Lady Conversations. We hope that you have been enjoying this Advent season, but now we are on Christmas. We made it, and we are so glad that you're with us again. As we were preparing for this, we had all these great themes and titles and everything, and we just decided that we are going to be just be, and we're gonna just share our feelings on Christmas and how everything's going and what it means just to be in the presence of God. So, Anne, Vicky, hi.
Hey. Yeah, the other thing too is, we've been trying to prepare everybody to come to Mass on Sunday and to think about the readings and stuff, but it's tricky on Christmas because depending on which Mass you go to, if you come on Christmas Eve or at late night on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning, you're going to hear different readings. So, we think everybody pretty much has a grasp on the Christmas story by now. Y'all know the basics. So we're going to kind of take the bird's eye view of Christmas today. Yep. Rather than zoom in on any particular scripture passages.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea because we're all always crazy. So that's perfect. All right. So what insights do you, I know as the three of us, we kind of see Christmas as in a different light because we are working Christmas, but anything that you want to share that will shed light on just being present at Mass, or anything that comes to mind that you want to share with our wonderful families?
Well, you made me laugh for a minute there because as you were saying, we have to work on Christmas. Like poor Mary. Mary had the hardest job on Christmas. Yeah. And I don't know if any, as much as Joseph was not, we last week spent a lot of time talking about how Joseph was, the strong, silent type almost who did action. I don't know if he really knew what actions to take on Christmas. He might have been a little lost.
Maybe that's where the whole go boil water comes from. She just wanted him out of the cave.
For real. I know, but we just where we run at Christmas, right? Even in these last few weeks, the themes we've chosen for all the Sunday readings, what did we choose? We were being prepared, and we were being harmonious, and we were being hopeful, and we were being faithful, we're being all these things. And but today it's just be with, we talk about Emmanuel as God with us. Just be with Jesus. Maybe not just a race to the Christmas line to the finish line of Christmas and then collapse, but maybe just sit with it. And just arrive here for a moment and let yourself breathe and let yourself kind of arrive.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about Thanksgiving, Christmas, we work, everybody, to prepare and prepare the best traditional meals and to do this and that and make sure every present has its bow. And then everyone eats dinner within 10 minutes and the table's a mess and the wrapping paper is off within 2 seconds. And you just sit there and you're all that work for minutes of enjoyment. And are we really present during those? My husband is so funny. I'll tell the kids, I was okay, each grab a gift and you guys can open it. And he's no. One at a time. I want to see their joy and their face. And I'm I just want to eat breakfast.
Right.
So I love the fact of Jesus is present in the world, present to all humanity, came to save us. This little tiny baby and the miracle of it, in general, the miracle of babies, but who he was,
Mhm.
we gotta sit back and remember that it's Christmas with a big C and not Christmas with a little c.
Mm-hmm. Like it.
I
Yeah,
think
I mean, the mystery of the incarnation and what it means that God was born into this world, is present in this world and in us, is like, I mean, you can spend your whole life kind of sinking into that mystery, right? It changes everything,
Yeah,
changes absolutely everything, that God is with us in that way and loves us in that way.
yeah.
And it changes who we are. and I just love it. I had the blessing in my life of having both of my children are late fall babies. So I never had a Christmas baby, but I did have two maternity leaves that took place over the Advent and Christmas seasons. So I spent a lot of time with newborns at this time of year. And I just have these memories of like sitting with my babies in the middle of the night in the dark with like, I remember I would get up to feed them in the middle of the night and plug the Christmas tree back in and like just sit there holding them and feeding them and thinking like, God did this. God
Mhm.
put himself in this tiny little, you know, so vulnerable and so needy. And, you know, it's just amazing. You don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just amazing. So I'm just to be able to sit in the darkness, maybe.
right.
I'm not saying get up at 3 a.m. like you would if you had a newborn, a hungry newborn, but to find that kind of a place for yourself in these next days,
Yeah,
like you said, Karen, just sit with it
yeah.
and imagine
And I was,
holding the baby Jesus. What would that be
yeah.
like?
mm,
And I was just thinking of like, having my children it gave me a new perspective of hard work.
Mm,
And, everything that went into bringing them into this world, it was worth it. That like moment that that I saw them. And, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, and it's still not easy 13 years later. But and the times that I lose my patience, I remember on how tiny and cute they were, and it brings me back to reality. But you know, life goes so fast. And I remember people saying to me, be in the moment because it goes fast, and the next thing you know, they're going to be off to college. And I was like, yeah, right. And
don't you remember how I remember people telling me that when my babies were little and I was
Mhm.
getting no sleep and they were like, enjoy it. And I was like, you have no idea. You don't remember
Right.
being tired. You have blocked it out.
Yeah.
Like,
But like
it's true. Now I
it's
can
all
say
worth
it's
it.
true.
But it was
Mhm.
all worth it. But even, for people who don't have biological children, you still have children in your lives that you are present with, and you see the excitement and the joy. um I my nieces and nephews were born before my children, so I was all about that, and I loved being the aunt that gave them all the noisy gifts. But don't forget, it comes back twofold.
Yeah, I bet.
oh, don't tell me that. I can remember, Olivia was a October baby. And so her first Christmas, when she had the most adorable little outfit, my baby cousin Olivia, and she just like, it was like a little Santa suit. It was adorable. And, for those first few years, I bought every noisy toy. I mean, she had every version of Elmo there was. And she's 16 now, and I'm just like waiting to see what I get as presents
Mhm.
for my baby someday, because it's not going to be pretty, but
No.
Oh
I
my
think,
gosh.
Christmas is so busy, and it's nice. So this video, obviously, if you're like, what you're talking about Christmas, because it releases a week before Christmas, but in that way, maybe to help you try to like pre-Christmas in this like weird period we're in, find some time for those like that quiet. Or I'm like, one of the things this year I've been trying a lot is just like letting go of things. Like if it doesn't happen, that's fine. Like, we didn't carve pumpkins this year. It's okay. We're just letting it go. Or cookies don't get baked. That's okay. Like, like that, the quiet time with Jesus and just being with him, I think is so important. And so if it means letting go of something, even if it's something you like, or it's a tradition, just to have some space, like, that can be okay too sometimes.
Well, we talked about that in the early weeks of Advent of, I think the pandemic helped with a lot of our traditions, and that becoming aware that just because we've done something before doesn't necessarily mean that we have to continue to do it. And I know that my family, we've made our own traditions in the last 13 years that Emma has been alive. So yeah, I'm still struggling that some traditions haven't been brought back. I will be honest, but it's really what makes our lives meaningful during this time. And it's not packing the kids up every single weekend to go to a different aunt or uncle's house and do something to prepare for Christmas Day. But if you want to, then that's great too.
Yeah. We say, as parents, and I mean, as youth ministers and as parents, we're in the business of making memories, right? So, it's not about the stuff that's not what they're going to remember. They're going to remember the feeling. Yeah. And I think one of the greatest things we can do for ourselves, our families, and everybody we care about is to just hold the space of, just like you were holding the baby Jesus, right? Like just to sit and be with God, with your family, and let everything else fall where it may.
Like they say on the plane, if something happens, you have to put your mask on first so you can help others. And if we're spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically drained, what memories are we creating for our family other than mom goes nuts during Christmas and stay out of her way?
Right. And, even just the idea of like coming to mass on Christmas, like, I mean, it's kind of a joke. Like we see people like at Christmas and Easter, we don't see a lot during the rest of the year, but that's because those traditions hold memory. All right. And they hold identity for people, and people keep coming back to that because it means something. It's part of who they are. And I think that's great.
I do too. And the fact that they feel welcomed, the fact that you feel welcome to come during those 2 times a year, if that's the only time that you're able to. I think that's wonderful, and we're glad that you're with us during those times. Anything else? I forgot I was leading at first. Vicky, Ann, anything else for Christmas joys and good tidings to all?
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Make the space to sit with your Jesus and your family and your loved ones.
Yes. Enjoy those quiet moments after everyone goes to bed and you have hot cocoa by your Christmas tree, or if you wake up at 3:00 in the morning with your to-do list in your head, then write it down and then just sit and enjoy.
Yes. And find those spaces of quiet, and just remember, like, you showing up however you are is good enough. The shepherd showed up probably smelly to Jesus, and the king showed up with awesome gifts, and they were both equally important.
Amen to that. Yes, come as you are. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for this year's videos and podcasts, however you listen. We really enjoy these, and we couldn't do it without you guys listening. So thank you. Merry Christmas, and we will see you next year.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
On behalf of Ann, Karen, and myself, thank you again for listening to this episode of Faith Conversations for Your Real Life. Please make sure to subscribe to wherever you're listening or watching this episode. You can find the readings linked in the description box below, and we can't wait to see you again next time on Faith Conversations for Your Real Life.
With your favorite
not so typical church ladies.